Hello, hello, and welcome. Today, let's talk about the astrology of September. Now, before I get started, I made some journal pages for you with the transits that I'm going to talk about. If you would like that, go down to the show notes and you'll find my website in there and you can sign up and get it, just download it really easily. Um, I find it helpful as people are talking about transits to make some notes about how I think they're going to show up in my life. I also find it helpful to go back and look at how things actually did play out because astrological timing is cyclical. It's nice to be able to go back and say, oh, when that was conjunct, this happened. This must, that's the story that we're telling with this piece of the energy. So, again, link in the show notes. You can get it, just download it right away and take some notes if that is helpful to you. If you are new here, my name is Lisa Merrifield. I'm with Trails Edge Astrology, and on this channel, I give grounded and practical advice so that you can live your best life. All right, let's dive in and talk about the astrology of September. And spoiler alert, I think it's going to be a little more cohesive than the last couple of months. Fingers crossed, anyway. I will be doing the tarot and astrology horoscopes for each of the rising signs. I haven't gotten that done yet, so stay tuned if you want to know the specifics for your chart. But in the meantime, let's talk about what we are seeing for September. And September starts off with a bang. On September 1st, Pluto re-enters Capricorn. So Pluto has been going back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius since early in 2023. And this happens with outer planets as they move between signs because they spend so much time retrograde. Pluto has been in Aquarius since January of this year, and it is interesting that it moves back into Capricorn for one final period over the U.S. presidential election, which I think is interesting. Pluto will be in Capricorn between September 1st and November 20th. So during that time, Pluto will likely be cleaning up any of the Capricornian things that have been happening in our lives and in the world, doing the final energetic push to finish out that energy before moving into Aquarius for the next 19 years, I think. So you might look to the Capricorn place in your chart. Pluto was in Capricorn between about 2008, started doing this dance between Sagittarius and Capricorn in 2008, and has been in Capricorn this entire time. So look for the house that Capricorn is in your chart and think about the changes in traditions that have come about for you, or the changes in how you're climbing the ladder, or in how you are setting your sights on things, setting your goals, all the kind of Capricorn things that happen in your life. There has been some transformation around that time. It has been stronger if you have certainly a Capricorn placement, but Capricorn placements, Cancer placements, Taurus placements, or Virgo placements have all been impacted as Capricorn has progressed through, as Pluto has progressed through Capricorn. So we're cleaning up any of that work, finishing as much soul's evolution as we can do in that space in our charts in this lifetime. And then Capricorn, goodness gracious, Pluto will move into Capricorn for the next 20 years. So that's a big start to this year and a big energetic shift. So my advice is to, look at the things that you need to get done and do the work to get them finished so that you can move into the next chapter fully and completely once Pluto finally goes into Aquarius for good and for all. All right. The second transit of note this month happens on September 2nd. We have a new moon in Virgo. This is a nice new moon. Moons lately have been a little rocky, so this is a nice one. It's hanging out in Virgo, and it's not, the interactions with other planets are good and nice. So I think this is a nice one if you want to set some intentions. Virgo and intentions are really nice for like setting out the steps to do the things you want to do. The analysis, the practical application, all of that. Virgo new moons are really nice for getting your plan together. So go for that on September 2nd. The next transit of note on September 6th is Mercury squaring Uranus for the third time. So we've had a ton of Uranus energy this year. We had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction back in April. We had a Mars-Uranus conjunction in July. We've had, 4 squares to Uranus during August. So I guess July and August. Mercury squared Uranus at the end of July, and then of course went retrograde. Venus squared Uranus. The full moon on August 19th squared Uranus, and now and as Mercury went retrograde, it squared Uranus again. I think around the 19th of August, and now it's coming back through for the final time, squaring Uranus. So Uranus, when we have squares like this, Uranus promotes liberation and breaking down the calcification and finding the way through a thing that is stuck. This is of note because there's just been so many of them lately. I don't think this is anything you haven't seen before, but sometimes Uranus can bring some surprises or can show us some things that we have not been paying attention to or haven't seen in the way we need to see it. So that's why I bring it up. There might be something you're working on, and this Mercury Uranus square, the final one, might give you some insights or ideas about how to think about a problem or think about a situation or how to communicate it or what technology you need. Any of those kind of mercurial kinds of things could come up around September 6th when Mercury makes this final square to Uranus. And I don't think we have any squares to Uranus for a little while. We get some other aspects to Uranus, but they'll be a different feel. All right, September 17th, we enter eclipse season. And eclipse season, I heard another astrologer, I'm trying to think who it was, might have been Adam Ellenboss from Nightlife Astrology, mentioned that eclipses are like the universe giving us a karmic shift, like a lot of energy we can feel into, and we can really work with, we can co-create with. But oftentimes eclipses are just this karmic, like, we're moving on. like you need to, you're not quite on the right path. I'm gonna bump you over. The difficulty with eclipses is that they don't necessarily show up on the day that we feel them coming in, and then they last for some period of time. This eclipse is going to be in Pisces, so this is the first eclipse in Pisces in several years, and so if you've got Pisces energy, if you've got Virgo energy, any of that, like there might be some kind of interesting karmic shifts or interesting kind of like course corrections. That's the word I'm looking for. There might be some course corrections that come your way. So be open around the 17th to insights and ideas. And again, eclipses don't always reveal themselves on the day, but around that time, in the next, depends on who you talk to, in some period of time, there could be some aha kind of like, oh, that's the way I'm supposed to do this. They can also reveal things like, oh, I needed to see that. This is a lunar eclipse, so the sun will eclipse the moon. And sometimes we can see it. I haven't looked at where that's going to show up in the world, but sometimes you can see those lunar eclipses. So it's an eclipse of the moon, which generally means that there's something internal, something changes for us inside, that then we bring out into how we act in the world outside. So look for that around the 17th. And then on September 22nd, we have in the Northern Hemisphere, the autumn equinox. It's also called Mabon in some pagan traditions. And it is a point of equilibrium. So it's a point where day and night are equal. So it's a balance point. It's the point where the sun moves into Libra, which is the sign of balance. So it's a nice time to recognize the changing of the seasons and to really think about what you've been bringing in this year. We're in the waning part of the year, so we through the summer solstice, we grow and build, and then from the summer solstice through the winter solstice, we prune and we set seeds and we compost the things we don't need anymore, and we figure out what it is we need to release in order to move into the next cycle. So that's what we're working on. And September 22nd is a nice day to kind of like look back at what were your goals at the beginning of the year. What did you intend to bring in? And where are you now? And what needs to be refined? What's not working that needs to be released? Are there beliefs or ideas you're holding on to that that it could be really helpful to move you forward? So all that is of note around the 22nd of the month. And then the final dates I want to mention are September 24th and 25th. And during this time, Mercury is really active. And Mercury's moving really, really quickly at the moment. And I'm just thinking about Mercury's moving really, really quickly at this moment. And it will, at this point, between September 25th, it will trine Uranus, it will oppose Neptune, and it will trine Pluto. So that's a lot of mercurial energy with a lot of big planets that are at really prominent degrees. Pluto will be at the ending degrees of Capricorn. Uranus is coming close to the end of Taurus, and it's also been so active this year. And Neptune is at the final degrees of Pisces. So I think that's a time when we can really invite in some of those the ideas and the messages, just like rethink some things and just shake things up a little bit. I think there will be some ability to work on our ideas or our communication styles. Look for people coming into your life. Look for information that you're seeing, any kinds of patterns around the end of the month. Just that mercurial energy is going to be really strong and really high. And I think really an invitation to help us figure out how to step into whatever the next chapters are we are trying to build. So that is what I am seeing for September. And again, if you want a journal on this to kind of take your own notes and note what is possible and note what happens, in the show notes below, I have given you a link to some journal pages on that. And again, look for my tarot and astrology horoscopes for your rising sign. If you're still here and you're willing, please like and subscribe to the channel. That helps me know you're out there, helps the channel grow, and helps the algorithm know that this is useful information. All right, I think that's it. Go forth and enjoy the month of September. Bye.